Hello and welcome to the second part of my Dark Souls playthrough. Today we'll be, like I said, we'll be going up these steps to the undead burg, trying to ring the first bell of awakening, as this guy has told us. Um, just not really much to add that I didn't already say in the first part. I think I pretty much covered all aspects that I wanted to talk about, except for a few things. I picked up, in the last episode, I picked up humanity, and I neglected to read it for whatever reason. I think I just forgot. So, let me... I'm just gonna lower that a little bit. I don't know how much of my voice comes through in video or not. And I'm also going to set a timer, so I know how much time I have. Sorry about this. Alright. Humanity. A rare tiny black sprite found on corpses. Used to gain 1 humanity. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? Some pretty deep stuff here. Not really things that I can get into in too much detail, simply because it takes too much time, and in the interest of brevity, I think we should not discuss it that much. But the gist of it is, during the starting cutscene, the opening cinematic shown in the first episode, we got to see 4 of the key players in the universe. So we had Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, and we had Nito, the first of the dead, and we had the Witch of Izoth with her Daughters of Chaos, and the Furtive Pygmy. The Furtive Pygmy, very little is known about it. All that we do know about it is that it's the spawn of humans. And the word humanity comes from human. So if the soul is the source of all life, and indeed it's the power of the fire, like the first flame fire, which is also shown in the cinematic at the start, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? Basically, they're asking what makes us different from the rest. What makes the Furtive Pygmy different from the other 3 big parts of the flame? And it's quite big. It's very important to the extent that there's a whole new age that comes after the Age of Fire, which is the Age of Dark, which is the age of the Furtive Pygmy, and by a certain degree the Age of Man, as opposed to the Age of Gods that we currently are in this game. So you have 3 ages, Age of Ancients, where it was dragons and all that, and then you had the Age of Fire, which is current, and currently dying as well. And then what follows after that is the Age of Dark. And so that is the distinction between humanity and the soul, the Furtive Pygmy and the rest. That's just a very short explanation. It goes a little bit more in depth, but I don't really want to take up too much time with lore discussions. This is more of a playthrough than a lore exposition, so I'll be heading up this area, and we'll just see what we see. Sadly, we will be departing this lovely, peaceful sanctuary out into the unknown. So here we have a introduction to I suppose the combat of the game, and I do like how relatively easy this all is, It's not too taxing for new players, and it's not particularly bad for new returning players coming in and replaying this. It's fairly straightforward. And if you're able to go through this area, I'd say you're pretty much equipped to handle a lot that the game is gonna throw at you. Let's just pick up these souls. And we're in some aqueduct, some chamber. This place is likely a sewer to let out the waste that's coming from inside the castle walls. Something I really enjoy about this game is the sound quality, the ambience. I think I mentioned it in the first part, but as you walk into this chamber, it feels so enclosed, and you have this echoing as you're walking around. You have the, the sound of the running water and the echo when you make any noise. I'm sure, if I hit the wall and you hear the ding from the sword and stuff, it's gonna reverberate on the walls and things. So I love that aspect of it. It's really, really, I don't know, it brings you into the game. It's wonderful. But we won't be spending too much time inside as we're heading out again. To the undead burg proper. So we are, properly inside the castle, inside the kingdom, I should say. And you have these very medieval style buildings. The whole theme of the game is very much medieval. Knights and castles and dragons. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're a fan of that as well. Here's some hidden areas. There's a lot to explore. And for that exploration, you do get rewarded, so there's no problem in this. It's an ambush. But they should try harder than that. Alright. Man, I love these old school games, how they have these low rendered polygon-esque looking buildings. Oh, it's such a joy to look at. He was waiting for me. Yeah. I didn't actually find this on my first playthrough. I believe I was young at the time and I just didn't catch that barrel being a hidden area. This room, however, has no secrets to hide. There's our first encounter with an imposing beast that we will face soon enough. I'm just glad we didn't look our way. So see, the way this game works with the lock-on system, the fact you can lock on and focus your camera on a single enemy, shows that the game is more orientated towards one-on-one combat and engagements. And so you're really not incentivized to take on more enemies than you can handle. Let's see how that looks. It's a new shield we got. Vertically elongated wooden shield, decorated with a white dragon. Wood shields are lighter than metal shields, but with lower physical damage reduction and reduced shield stability. So it's a trade-off. Wooden type shields are better at blocking elemental things, and we can see it here. It can block magic and lightning more effectively than this one, than a metal one. And it's also lighter, so if you wanted to be a little quicker on your feet, you would probably go with that. Or, if you're like me, you would just go with what's more visually appealing, and a dragon on a shield is really appealing, so I'll be going with that. Here we have more defensive enemies. But not too defensive. And they go down without much of a hassle. As a beginner, it's probably a really good idea to be breaking a lot of the objects, because they do tend to hide secrets in them, which is very reminiscent of old school type video games, which I enjoy. And here we have somebody who is sort of sane. At least we can talk to him.
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm? Then you are a welcome customer. I trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
This here is a double-headed eagle, as opposed to the dragon. I think I'll buy it just to check it out. I'll also buy this key. Might come in handy.
Things are getting treacherous in these parts. A horrible goat demon has moved in below. And up above, there's that humongous drake and a bull demon too. If you stick around this place, it might end up being your grave. Thank you kindly.
A lot of the characters in this game, people you could talk to, have a tendency to laugh. And many players have interpreted it in many different ways. Some people think it's just a running gag with the developers, so that's what they... it's just like a running joke with them. Other people think that it's more a way for them to cope with the environment that they're in, like how depressive it is, because a lot of people do tend to resort to humor or jokes to sort of alleviate the stress in the stressful situation that they're in. And this might be some sort of method that they do. Another interpretation is that they've just completely lost it. You know, being in this area, in this place for so long, can take a toll on you mentally. Of course, physically too. And you can sort of understand that. You can feel the pain, almost, in the damage that they've taken mentally. And, I mean, this man has been through a lot, clearly. Just a very sad case all around. But he gave me a shield, so let's try it on for size. Not sure I can make up my mind on which one I prefer. What do the stats have to say? This one's just all around better, but slightly heavier. I think we can trade that off, it's fine. Let's keep moving. And here's a bonfire. Temporary place of rest. This here is a broken out staircase, but a ladder that we might be able to lower at some point. Though we will have to climb up this tower somehow. If you decide to two-hand your weapon, you of course deal more damage. We're just exploring this burg area. Lots of buildings to go into, lots of rooms to explore, lots of enemies waiting in ambush. You really do have to pay close attention to your surroundings. We got some fire bombs. Could be useful. I missed that one. Never gets old. Good thing we picked up that key, which, let's read it. Key to a residence in the undead burg. Simple, sturdy design of the locks in the burg. Keep out unwanted visitors. But this is a standard key in these parts, and will open several residences. So, not a very secure lock. And clearly, I mean, it opened up this house. Not bad. The furniture in these rooms, it gives such a strong Skyrim vibe to it. And it did come out around the same time, though I believe Skyrim came out first. But I'm not too sure. But it is nice. I do enjoy it. Didn't put much of a fight. Nice try. And you can tell in these tight areas it's quite difficult to hit with the sword. Here we have a rather imposing looking soldier. Knight, I should say. We have our exit there. He is quite tough, but we should be able to handle him, as we do practically 0 damage to him. Though if you're quick and able to respond fast enough, you're able to parry him, counter him. Obviously this comes with a lot of experience. He's more defensive now, I see. It's quite a lengthy fight. So I think I come out on top. And the reward for that is a cute looking piece of jewelry. Let's read what it says. The rare gem called Tearstone has the uncanny ability to sense imminent death. This blue tearstone from Katarina boosts the defense of its wearer when in danger. Danger here being death, and not just in battle. So we'll put that on. And here we are in a watchtower, with the door going down being locked, but thankfully no doors going up. Here we are on top of the towers. We have these snipers conveniently placed on the tower, holding the position. Let's just take them out. And they go down without much hassle. Something this game does really well is the landscapes and the view, as we've seen before with the mountains and such. I mean, look at that. It's just wonderful to look at. You have that high point, high walls. Perhaps an even more royal residents would live up there, and the more peasants of the burgs and of the kingdom as a whole would be on the lower section. Here's our second boss, yet another demon. This one's far more imposing and equally as aggressive. It's just hammering away. slowly chipping away at his health, though it appears that he has a lot of it. So we can use something that might help us. The gold pine resin. Gold as in lightning. And this should help increase our damage a little. Though he deals damage all the same. But after a amazing battle, he goes down. Now we continue onward.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time. Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment. The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
So there we have perhaps one of the more recognizable faces or armors of Dark Souls and the whole Souls franchise as a whole. He just basically explained the multiplayer mechanics and the online mechanics of the game to fit within the lore and the world building of the game, which I quite like. I'm glad they didn't just put in multiplayer with no reason or explanation for how it's seen in the world. So I like that, but I won't be using any of that stuff. I prefer a way more solitary feel. I think that fits the ambience and the feeling of the game way more. There we have the dragon. Let me just hide here for a second. There are very few moments in Dark Souls where you have very little time to react to a danger that's been presented. Well, honestly here, there's very little presentation. He just immediately swooped in from behind and, you know, burned everything on the bridge. But it doesn't do too much damage, and it's not too punishing, even if it does kill you. But it's a nice moment from the game to you know, a lot of new players, beginner players, once they kill that boss, the Taurus demon, they feel such, I don't know, they feel pride or happiness that they've beaten the boss, right? They might have died a few times or whatever. And to just have this thing just shatter any of your joyous feelings and stuff is like, here you go. It's an even tougher fight now in front of you. It's such a classic moment in Dark Souls, and why this game is so memorable to a lot of people. Here, we'll take the stairs down. And a familiar looking ladder, which very conveniently re-establishes this bonfire as something really useful. Might be smart to spend in a few levels. I'm gonna put a little bit into faith, and the rest into endurance, I suppose. Just a second. If I take off my helmet, I'm a little more agile. And I'm also going to reverse the hollowing effects, which costs a humanity, but will make me appear more human. Now, this is a very imposing situation. A situation that a lot of people aren't really sure how to tackle. I mean, it's just impossible, isn't it? Well, we'll tackle this later on. Thankfully, they do give us a way to sneak underneath the bridge. And these enemies are a tad bit more tougher. So we'll need a weapon upgrade soon. Here we got some rats. They don't put too much of a fight. Now indeed, this game isn't really too difficult if you do take your time and you just take in the surroundings, don't rush, you know, just take as many as you can fight, not more than that. And I believe this is the other side of the bridge, but it's closed off to us with a nice looking bonfire. But because we weren't brave enough to cross the bridge, that's gonna stay closed. But no worries. It's just one danger to another. We have this bull. This is getting a little tight. Picked up some alluring skulls, which might come in handy. Let's have a little read of it. A skull with meekly lingering souls. Throat to shatter and spread souls to attract certain types of enemies. Souls are a concentration of life, and the life-starved hollows are lured by its power. Not effective for all enemies. Well... not really sure what they're doing there, but I'm gonna use these skulls to bring it a little closer. Now that it's here, I can jam the sword in its head. But not enough to take it down, unfortunately. Though there is no harm in doing it once again. There we are. Picked up its head. Severed head of the fully armored fanged boar, taken by the one who killed it as proof of his victory, just as the gods once did with the head of the ancient dragon. Can be worn on the head as a surprisingly sound piece of protective gear, but really heavy. So we're gonna ignore that for now. A mystery key. The purpose of this key is unknown. It appears to be a basic prison cell key. Okay. So we've already passed by a lot of locked doors and we've passed a lot of locked gates and things, so that key could really prove to be for anyone. Thankfully no boss this time. Instead we walk into this beautiful looking balcony. One of my favorite scenes in the game. And you have this stronger looking enemy. And very tough with his armor. But he goes down. I picked up a knight shield. This medium metal shield is elegantly carved and painted. Although it is thought to have been used by ancient knights of the nobility, its defense capabilities are similar to other shields. And it's quite strong in terms of physical defense. But I don't like it too much. Well, that guy stood no chance. More of these balconies. Trying to ambush me. But I come out on top, so it's all good. We have this flimsy looking bridge. It goes up into this wonderfully looking church. I swear this is based on some real life cathedral or church. It looks so majestic, so imposing. I really do enjoy it. A halberd. That's quite strong. Basement key. Opens the narrow passage leading below at the far face of the great bridge in the undead burg. The lower undead burg is a treacherous place. Do not turn your back on the wily thieves or the wild dogs who serve the Capra demon. A lot to say, a lot to interpret from that description. But it also tells us where it's used, which is something fairly uncommon with key items in the game. Here we open the gate that was next to the border. So if I ever do die, this would be a nice little shortcut to come back here, which I appreciate. Oh, that's a imposing looking enemy. Way more than anything we've done so far. He has a weapon that I would very much like to have. This place is really chaotic, so let me just drag him here a little bit. At least it's more controlled here, I don't have to worry about other enemies coming in. Very, very tough enemy. It's just a classic, you know, paladin sort of look to him. I just want his armor really badly. Thankfully he goes down. Yeah, we desperately need an upgrade. This is ridiculous. Let's see where this takes us. We're taking a little detour away from the church. Here's some noise. And it's a bonfire. Obviously not the source of the noise, but a bonfire is a welcome respite. I'm gonna save up my souls for now.
Well, you must be a new arrival. I'm Andre of Astoran. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
Alright, so we have a blacksmith who can really help us with our weapon. But honestly, I'd prefer if we had a longsword as opposed to the broadsword that I'm currently using, so I'm just gonna grab that. And I'm going to upgrade it. Once or twice is fine. Any equipment I need to repair? Maybe my shield and my armor.
Most weapons and armor are mighty sturdy indeed, but every hunk of metal has its breaking point. If you notice durability running low, it's time to repair. You can ask a blacksmith like myself, or do it on your own with a grindstone. The nice thing about weapons, they never betray you, so pay them a little respect, eh?
Not bad. I like his lines, they're very iconic. But we'll be going now.
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Now we have a stronger weapon that we can use. Really glad to have that. I am gonna upgrade endurance just a little bit more, and perhaps as well use a little bit of the souls I acquired. It's still gonna put me over. Let me try and level up just a little bit further. Nice. We just broke that threshold. Yeah, speed is quite important. I'm not the fastest I can be, but I'll take it over the heavier build. Yeah, we're doing a lot more comfortable damage now. Now, the reason why I didn't like the broadsword and wanted to go for the longsword is because this one has a piercing stab attack, whereas the other one just had a swipe. And for certain areas that are quite tight, you really don't want to be swinging your weapon that way. Firekeeper soul. Soul of a long-lost firekeeper. Each firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire, and a draw for the humanity which is offered to her. Her soul is gnawed by infinite humanity, and can boost the power of precious Estus flasks. It can be used to gain humanity, however, and restore HP, at the cost of losing the firekeeper's soul to reinforce the Estus flasks. So they warn you like twice or 3 times not to use it, but you are able to. If you want to use it, you can, and you'll gain humanity for it. But I think more effectively would be to reinforce your Estus. So, you know, most people would go for that, including myself. Interesting point about this item, it tells us that the bonfires are hosted, or at least most of them are hosted by women. They tend to the flame, and apparently they absorb infinite humanity, which is an interesting topic and another long tangent that I don't really have the time to get into now because I want to do something fast before time is up. We'll take these stairs up. We have a very claustrophobic fight. Thankfully I have a weapon that can thrust. So it's not the end of the world. And he goes down. There's a lot of enemies here. Yes, a lot of enemies. Thankfully they're not too smart and they can't really... To be honest, I was not really expecting that. Let me just head there real quick. Sorry about this. And we've defeated them through a little hard work. We're at the on top of the interior of the church, I should say. Top floor. Some humanity. And this very conspicuous looking barricade.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without recourse. Thank you. Yes, sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Karim. I truly appreciate this. And I guarantee a reward. Only later.
Oh, feels nice to do something, at least not killing anyone for once, you know? You help somebody, and they'll help you. I have another soul. of yet another fog wall. A very obvious looking boss fight. And quite a tough one. Let's see how this goes. Not really the most impressive amount of damage, but got off his tail. And in classic Dark Souls fashion, this is actually a 2 boss fight. 2-for-1 boss fight. Just to increase the difficulty by a lot. This is a tough fight. But when one goes down, the other one goes down fairly soon. And there we have it. Perhaps one of the tougher roadblocks for starting players. It's not too common that you have a multiple boss fight in this. So when it does happen, you know, it does get you a little nervous. But we get to climb this tower, ascend the tower. And there's our bell. Very impressive. We made it this far, and all of the undead burg and parish could hear that sound of victory. Well, that's all I have time for today. Thank you very much for watching, and in the next episodes we'll be trying to find our way down to the second Bell of Awakening, wherever that might be. All we know is that it's down below, in a decrepit place called Blighttown. And we'll just have to see for ourselves how decrepit it really is. Well, I will be going now. Thank you very much for watching again, and take care of yourselves.